Anthony Bourdain.
Hey, guys.
How are you, man?
Take a seat, sir.
How you doing?
See you.
Looking good. How are you, man?
Hey, look at Jimmy Wright. Isn't he looking good?
He lost 30 pounds, Anthony Bourdain.
Slim and trim.
Greek god.
Chiseled him.
Before you look like a goddamn Greek.
Yeah. He's all svelte. It's
Been
great.
seeing you on buses all week.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of creepy.
It's nice, though.
It's weirding out my daughter, too. You know, she's like, Daddy, or, you know.
Oh, is it?
looking at
Yeah.
me.
Everywhere she goes, there's your face, and it's just kind of odd.
It's bad. You know, too much of that shit. You start talking about yourself in the third person. You know?
Oh, yeah. That's never a good thing. The show getting a lot of heat.
Doing really well.
Lot of heat.
And having fun. I mean, they've been so awesomely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, their standards and practices have come a long way. You know, I got to say prolapsed butthole on CNN. I'm feeling pretty
Nice.
strong.
Nice.
And, of course, the ATV footage was everywhere.
Yeah, that hurt.
What? Yeah, huh?
Bad luck on ATVs. That's
Yeah,
really-
That's like, what, your second run-in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was watching, and I'm like, you're going really fast, first of all.
Right.
And going through water and everything, which
Right.
to me seems, that's that unknown
Plus,
factor.
I've been out in the sun for like 4 hours to get these shots, and
Wow.
I'm cooking. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really hot. The sun's coming down. I'm dehydrated. I'm drinking beer.
Where was this?
This was in a remote area of Colombia along the Venezuelan border. And, I took a tight turn and went over. And, I mean, I just sort of drove my skull right into the ground. I mean, my crew tells me I ran over my head. I wasn't awake for that. But I remember I just felt so stupid that I was like, I got to get up and appear like nothing happened. Because I
Right.
really don't want to hear the I told you so's.
Yeah. That's the first thing people normally do is like, all right, let me get up and make it seem like nothing happened.
Right.
I'll just, no, I'm fine. And then meanwhile, you're not fine.
God, I'm fine. Pardon me while I.
What was the
kiss
injury?
myself like this.
What was the injury? Was it a concussion?
I was out for a second, but
Holy fuck.
Yeah, you got thrown. I hate that feeling. That just boom. It's that fast, violent. Something's not right.
Not
thing
having control, right?
You haven't quite figured it out yet. Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What
I just
happened?
went straight in, and there was like a pile driver, like straight, my head first straight into the ground. Like,
Yeah.
if there were a comic book noise, it would have been something like a skronk.
Yeah.
Ozzy almost died doing that fucking
I know, right?
Osborne. ATVs are rough, man.
The first ATV accident I had, who gets to use that in a sense? So the first time I was on, I think, Jimmy Kimmel, and I showed that clip, and Ozzy was the other guest, and he's sitting next to me. And after the show, he followed me around backstage for like 45 minutes, like this doddering grandmother said, Anthony, don't do that again. Anthony, you could have died. So, Anthony, come here. And he grabbing my hand and running it along his collarbone so I could feel all the metal
Feel
plates in
his
there.
injury.
He's got plates?
Yeah, he was personally like horrified by this thing, and just he just took it upon himself to bring me back to the light.
You know what the thing about ATVs are too? You get on, you start riding, and at first you're kind of cautious, you're feeling it out, but in no time you really think you have it down.
Yeah.
Like, because you start going a little faster. You get your balls, and you're like, yeah, this is good. And meanwhile, you haven't been riding the thing more than 20 minutes. You've gone from, very slow, just figuring it out, to now you're a pro, going off jumps, going through water, taking tight turns, sliding.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not good.
No.
This thing is overpowering you.
And then you got in the back of your head, you got to get some good footage for the TV
Well,
show.
that too, yeah.
Yeah, there was that.
Were you driving worse than you should have because you knew the camera was rolling?
Probably a little
Compared
bit.
to what? I suck. I mean, I should be on one. Like, oh man.
What other, any other catastrophes during the,
Doing that one, no. We have a Libya show coming up, which is the best thing I've ever done. I mean, it was awesome. And then I think since I saw you guys last, the Congo, which was the hardest show we've ever done.
Yeah, huh?
What made the Congo hard? There's probably an obvious
There's
answer
29
there,
different rebel groups.
Right.
And, just shit goes wrong at every turn. I mean, it's a country without really much infrastructure, and the worst case scenario, like if things go wrong, like you're robbed or extorted or something, or you get a flat tire and you find yourself in the middle of booze.
Robbery and extortion's in the same category as a
worst-case
flat.
scenario is that the cops or the army come to help you out. Then,
Oh, really?
Then it gets really bad.
Why is that bad?
They're pretty good at, rape and murder are pretty much,
Jesus.
the specialty.
For the cops in the military?
Bad. Really bad.
So if they come to help you, you're saying
it's
that
the worst thing that could possibly happen.
they're not going to help you.
They're professionals that will rob you. Look, a rebel dude wants to take your stuff. You could say, I guess you could say, fuck you, I'm not giving it to you, and you could run. Or you could, maybe punch somebody and make a break for it. I mean, not that would be a good idea. But when an official, the army they've stolen the diplomatic bag from like the ambassador. I think the French ambassador. I forget which one. But they just don't have any problem
right.
with all of you're giving me that. Okay.
And if you fight back, you're
now it's an official problem. You can put you in jail forever.
That's probably not a good jail either. I bet a jail in the Congo.
Oh my
I bet
God.
it's not. You can't really protest for better conditions.
It is natural resource wise. It's the wealthiest country in Africa. It's the size of all Western Europe. It's beautiful. It's a very, 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 very complicated situation, but it really was an adventure, and I got to say, a privilege.
But
to
how
see
do
it.
you stay safe?
It's dangerous.
There's no guarantees.
It's a place where the situation changes from minute to minute, where everything, you just got to be really careful. You don't carry arms. You drive around in vans with TV written on the side and a big sign with a AK, like a silhouette of an AK with a red circle and a line.
Right, that you don't have any weapons.
We do not have any weapons, so nothing to see here, folks. Nothing particularly good to steal. You don't travel with armed security. That just isn't gonna.
Why is that? Because
there's 29 different official rebel groups. Those are the ones with names, and then these guys called My, who are local defense forces. You just make yourself a big fat target if you're in any way armed. I mean, you have security people, you have local fixers who sort of, the idea is to argue your way out of a situation, finesse your way out of a situation. There's a lot of.
You did have a fixer, or you didn't?
Yeah, you have to have Congolese who are looking after you, who know, okay, this guy needs 10 minutes of FaceTime, a lot of handshakes, and maybe a fruit basket. This guy's a problem. Time to get in the van and get out of here.
Wow. Like, who was the problem? Would it be like a local chief or
local security, whoever the sinister local, head of the internal security ministry is? But
a lot of ministries. I don't like a place with ministries.
What's weird though is even in the middle, we're up in what was essentially in the book, the Heart of Darkness. Where Kurtz was, Kisangani, and we're about 100 clicks out of there. Middle of the jungle, no power anywhere, nothing resembling running water. 5 bars on a cell phone. 3G, tweeting from the middle of the jungle.
Holy shit. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We would love our friend Jonathan, right?
Oh, yeah, my manager goes to he's never been in the Congo, but he goes to takes crazy trips. He's obsessed with travel, and he's got the same kind of view you do. Like, he just wants to see these places, and he doesn't go in armed. He doesn't, he took a tour of Africa recently, and, he said the driving was the worst part because you get motion sick because the roads are so fucking twisted and the infrastructure is just non-existent.
Yeah, you get tenderized kidneys. Some bouncing around.
He didn't go where Anthony went, though. He didn't go like that.
It was like an amazing experience.
And what'd you end up filming in the Congo?
Oh, man, everything. I mean, Goma. We start out in Goma in eastern Kivu, which is a very contentious area, and then sort of centered on Conrad, Apocalypse Now, the Heart of Darkness, and the kind of took a look at the history of the Congo through the Congo River, and it's a lot of history to try and discuss in a visual way, because most people look at the Congo and they just throw their hands up in the air and they say, it's too much. I can't. How do you explain this in 3 minutes, much less 42 minutes? So we try to do that in a visual way. Is
it scary when you said that you have a handler and like the guys are talking to the local guy and you don't know if they're being, because other times in the language barrier, you don't know if they're screaming at each other. That's just how these guys talk, or is there a
You
problem?
get used to that really quick, but there is a lot of screaming and threats.
Jesus.
That's called negotiation.
Sounds crazy.
Sounds exhausting.
Him, arrest him,
Right.
that sort of thing.
But your guy would say to you, like, all right, we can't fix this. It's time. How did you know that you weren't going to be stopped when the guy goes, like, hey, this guy's a problem?
Look, there were a lot of moments where this situation is bad and these are our options. Make a run for it, or land or river. But we had really, really great fixers who were just really good
Fixers.
at going through the process, meaning there's a screaming, yelling, and threats process, then there's a talk them down process, then we'll have some warm beer and maybe some money will be exchanged.
Little negotiating.
But what were they mad about?
You talked to the mayor first. You didn't come right to me first.
Oh,
the mayor got
God.
a fruit basket, and I'm putting him in jail. You should have come to me first.
Wow.
Putting you in jail?
Well,
Or the
first
mayor?
the mayor.
It's like management
Generally
here.
the mayor goes in first, and then I cannot guarantee your safety. Which is
boy.
not a good thing to hear.
No.
Is that a threat almost?
Because it's not just
yeah.
not guaranteeing your safety. We're going to make it very difficult
Yeah,
for
we're
you.
going to do it
I cannot
ourselves.
guarantee your safety is definitely not what you want to hear where we were.
So there's no right answer, obviously. You're always pissing off somebody.
Yeah. Look, you're in a situation where any state employee probably hasn't been paid anything in 6 months. There were guys showing up at the train station in Kisangani. I don't think it's been fully operational, if operational at all, since like early 60s, and only partially operational since the 70s.
Oh my God.
Their whole staff shows up, and I mean the whole train station's overrun. The tracks are overrun. Everything. They show up every day, and they do their job. They try to keep the trains repaired every day, with no money. Guys who show up at the this moldering library in the middle of the jungle, they show up hoping. They just show up to work. They put on their jacket, they tie, they go in, and
There's a library there?
And just
we went to this like Belgian research center in the middle of the jungle. It was pretty awesome.
Wow.
It was like really, really wild.
What's the library like?
Huge, like futurist, kind of Futurama style library complex that thousands of people used to work at, out in the middle of the jungle, most of it overgrown completely. You see a lot of that. I mean, you see
How weird.
the hotel where Bogart and Bacall and Katharine Hepburn stayed during African Queen. It used to be a really beautiful, industrialized wonderland for white people. In the Congo. I mean, the Congolese weren't allowed to walk their own streets. Mm-hmm. But if you were a middle-class Belgian, you were living large in the Congo. You had railways and modern buildings and infrastructure, sports club, the pool, the health, the golf courses, all of that. And, when they split, the Belgians, they plugged the toilets with cement, scuttled everything in sight, and since they hadn't allowed anyone to, go beyond, I think, like middle school, they left like 8 qualified guys in the whole Congo to run a country.
What year did the Belgians leave?
Early 60s.
Why were they such pieces of shit about it?
Man, they were not before the Belgians, the whole country was owned by King Leopold of Belgium. And he basically killed half the population, pushing them to collect rubber and ivory. And if you didn't bring in your quota for rubber by hand tapping it and extract, they'd cut your arms off.
Jesus.
Their people were paid by the arm. This was in the 20th century.
It's kind of like kicking over the sandcastle before you leave the beach.
Right.
Not uncommon. A lot of guys in Africa. It wasn't just the Belgians. Also, to be fair, the Congolese, as soon as they got independence, made this mistake of democratically electing basically a communist.
Yeah.
Who we quickly had killed. Okay, us and the British and the Belgians. And so we were not too eager to see them succeed, particularly given the large uranium deposits in the country, which we did not want to fall in the hands of the Russians. So, it did not make us unhappy at that particular period of time that the country was not working.
So without the colonialism there now and stuff, what is the issue now?
They're
Why?
surrounded, they're bristling with diamonds, gems, natural resources that everybody wants. They've got neighbors like Rwanda with huge displaced armies who've been kicked out of Rwanda, now running around in the Congo, because the last president, any president actually, they can't rely on their own army. Anytime they have problems within the country, they they basically rent out or sell off their national resources to neighboring countries who send in armies to ally with the current president. And then hang around and make sure that they get to keep stuff. So there are all of these surrogate armies controlled by the neighbors,
Jesus
as
Christ,
well as
what a
all these
mess.
Looney Tune little breakaway groups who 1 minute, 10 minutes ago were working with the army and the national government, and are now allied against them.
Have you ever thought, like, what's the solution here? What would be the solution to get a viable world accepted country there?
It's so big. That's the problem. I mean, it's the size of all Western Europe. I mean,
Yeah.
the capital, and most of it's jungle, so it's really, really hard. Look, they need a large functioning management class for sure. But we can hardly pull that off in this country. So.
You said something back there that everything's being overgrown.
Yeah,
That must have been really cool to see.
it's hauntingly beautiful,
Right.
To see.
And the Bogart Hotel where they stayed,
Yeah.
that's one of the places that's
Yeah,
completely overgrown.
it's a squat now, but it was called the Pourquoi Pas Hotel. And
Did you get
I'm
to go
reading
inside it?
Hepburn's memoir as I'm, looking
Wow.
at it. And,
Yeah, did you go inside of it?
yeah.
And it's just being overgrown.
Well, I mean, there's squatters living in it.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez.
And that library is not used for anything anymore, right? That's
Well,
just
no, there are a few. There's still a few Congolese students who were trying to make use of that research, and it's heartbreaking. People are trying, but it's really, really tough. That's a situation where you fight to live every day.
Yeah.
And,
Has that given you how has it changed your perspective of the United States at all when you see stuff like that? And it's stuff that, only a small percentage of people in America would even see that. How has it changed your view of?
if I hear somebody whining about writer's block, I'm not too sympathetic.
Right.
When you see how hard people will work just to stay clean, how hard they'll work to maintain their pride, clean clothes, clean body.
Yeah.
That's it's not what you expect.
Does it give you more patience here? Are you more patient with things,
yeah.
or
you got to you're thinking that there, when the ferry goes out and it's another 7-hour wait to get across the river, and that's every day.
Right.
You think, I'm never going to yell at a traffic light again.
Yeah, the 1 minute that it's taking. God damn it, I missed the light.
Man.
So we've been mixing it, look how easy I got it. We're bitching about, oh God, if I just one toilet, one good shower.
Right.
But that's for what, a week, 10 days? The next show I'll be in Spain, eating tapas and drinking red wine. So.
Have you taken a lot of shits outdoors?
Yeah, we're professionals, man. We
Got it all figured
we
out.
are real good at all of these things you never thought you'd have to learn. We're getting real good at. Yeah, the al fresco dump. Yes.
Do you ever think like I'm going to this place and I've overstepped this time? We made a mistake thinking we were going to be safe, and we were. I know you have a lot of scary moments, but has there been any times where you're like, I really fucked up this time?
Me, no. There were some days in Libya. There were some time because there was stuff going on around us. It wasn't like, oh my God, we're going to die, but the situation was getting worse every day, and there was a lot of discussion whether to stay or go. Like every day, there was an emergency meeting. Okay, this is the latest security briefing, and our security guys were not. When your security guys just say, "Look, if we'd known before what we know now, we wouldn't have come. We wouldn't have advised you not to
Great,
come."
man.
And so every day it was sort of like the whole crew had a vote: or are we bugging out for the airport, or are we going to try to hang on for another few days?
How would you vote?
I voted to stay. I mean, I felt pretty I'm not a heroic guy by a long shot, but I didn't see any immediate. It looked okay to me. I mean, the people around us were cool. The Libyans were very cool with us. Just there was stuff happening outside of our view that was worrying.
We have the Vice guys in sometimes, and I love their documentaries. And Shane was saying that the worst place of all the places, the scariest was Juarez, Mexico.
Yeah.
Would you go there? Would you go to certain places in Mexico at this point, or do you think you might want to avoid that?
I don't know. It depends on what the situation is. I'm not looking to put, unlike them, I'm not looking to put my head up into a firing line just for good TV.
Right.
I mean, I'm there for another reason. And I'm willing to accept a certain amount of risk if there's a really good story or something interesting there. But I'm not looking at, hey, look at me, I'm in Juarez.
Right.
Nah.
Nah.
I mean, I love Mexico. So, I mean, I'd love, if you tell me, if enough people tell me it'll be okay. We've been to a lot of places where they say you shouldn't go that turn out to be really cool.
When you're in these places, like, do you come back here and see news from the Congo and from Libya, and does it affect you more in that way? Do you have to carry this around with you now, going, not only feeling bad for your own country and what's happening here, but now you gotta have empathy for like half the fucking globe?
I don't know. It's weird. You steal your heart to a lot of things. I think when you
that's
see
what
a
I
lot
assume.
Of sad shit, regularly, you have to. I mean, I've seen this happen with NGOs and people who work in environments like that.
Right.
Just in order to get to work every day without having a breakdown and constantly weeping, you inure yourself to certain things. I get angry seeing really stupid coverage of places like Libya. No clue. There are actually idiots out there saying, we were better off with Gaddafi. Oh, really? Really? It is people say this with authority, having never been to Libya, never having met these kids, the majority of people who overthrew, they get their news sources the most cretinous, fringe, underinformed conspiracy theory website. And they're pretty, Gaddafi, and this is from both left and right. Gaddafi was better. No, he wasn't. And the majority of the people who threw him out were people that you would like hanging out with. They were cool. There were kids who were, playing like PlayStation, a week before they went to war. Went home, from Western universities to fight against the guy. I mean, they fought Soviet tanks with handmade weapons built out of like plastic and hair dryers. And shit. So, I got a lot of when I see really stupid, uninformed news coverage, it makes me a little cranky.
And much like soldiers and police officers and whatnot, and you don't have to be specific, but was there some form of gallows humor a little between you guys to just see some horrible things and in order to even deal with it, have to make a little joking?
Reach this stupid zone where I hear
you.
It's like
to cope. Coping mechanism.
Yeah,
well, you just start like getting giddily obsessed with getting anally raped. It's like everything.
Look who laughs first, Jimmy.
Yes. I've never actually laughed thinking of it. I always come.
It is. It's a constant remain, especially when you're sort of. When you're really tired. You've been going. You're stressed. You're scared. You're reading news reports of just like unbelievably awful shit. Yes, you make stupid and wildly inappropriate humor. Right. No doubt about it.
Where do you go on personal vacations? Like, where do you like going around the world?
Look, any beach where I can just stay put is good for me.
Nice beverage on the beach
this summer. Just hang out with the family, and then I'm not doing anything. I'm walking to the barbecue and back. That's about it.
That's because your work puts you in a position when you're vacationing. You're not the hey excursion guy. You're not fucking let's do this and
steamers, beer,
That's it. Nice.
But the people he goes with, they're all hoping he comes up with a plan for that day.
Yeah, we're laying here on a
I'm telling
lounge
you,
chair
Anthony
with a
Bourdain,
drink in my hand.
Right, he's going to come up with the excursion.
Hell no. I'm going with my family, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not social at all. I don't. Summer, I'm not about going to benefits or
Right.
any of that shit.
I hear you.
No.
You want to relax and kind of stay put.
Yeah.
If there's a meal that I can't eat with my hands, it's a disaster. It's a personal disaster. If I have to put on anything other than a bathing suit, then it's
right.
Something's gone seriously wrong with my vacation.
Yeah.
I see on the one sheet today, I'm not sure if we discussed this before, the most disgusting thing you've ever eaten is a chicken McNugget.
Well, I mean, on balance, because I'd probably do the least about what's actually in it.
Right.
At least what I was eating, rotten shark. I knew what the principal
shark.
ingredients were.
Where'd you eat rotten shark?
Oh, my
Iceland.
God.
Nasty.
Why rotten on purpose? Or
They love that shit. They rot it, they putrefy it, and then they pickle it.
Oh, my God.
It's about, they're Viking, they're proud Viking roots.
But what does it taste like?
I'm so tough, I can eat this shit.
Oh, is that what it is?
What did it taste like? Is there any way?
It tastes like rotten shark. If I had like a tiny little nubbin like this here and here, this stent, you would all be, dude, I can't work here.
I got to scrape the brown off the bottom of my salmon. I can't even handle
don't like that?
No.
This would just absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Do they like it?
The
they probably
younger
tell
generations there say, I don't eat that shit.
Oh.
But it's like lutefisk, that they eat that out in Scandinavian areas of the country. It's really stanky.
And what is lutefisk?
Same basic.
Do they put it on something, or they eat it raw with a fucking fork? Ugh.
I've seen shows where they've eaten that disgusting.
Can we find rotten shark in New York City?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
We got to try this.
Get it.
E-Rock's got it.
Yeah, or lutefisk. It comes in a can. You can.
Oh my God, E-Rock, could you do this?
It would be like an anti-personnel weapon. You open that up in here,
just stench out the whole room.
You're done. You're done.
How the fuck do they stay in business?
They like it.
It's fucked up.
But they actually enjoy the taste.
Yes.
We got to get
acquired
some.
taste, I would gather.
We got to go get some.
Gefilte fish, I think, right? I think I tried that at Dice's house during Passover or whatever. It was fucking repulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was terrible. It didn't taste like that.
No.
But there's certain ethnic foods or certain cultural foods. I don't know what it is that makes you okay with it. Maybe when you're a kid, but I just can't stomach it.
I can't even do sardines.
I like a good sardine.
My in-laws
I'm all over that.
My in-laws will gobble that shit up. I can't do it.
Hey, shalom, you cocksucker. Eat this shit.
Oh, we got to try that. E-Rock, you up for trying some of that shit?
I don't know if I could stomach that.
Sure you can.
Seafood is not really.
That's a yes. Let's send the intern out.
Unless it's krill.
Yeah, what's it called again? Let's go get it now. Where can we get it?
Oh,
do we have to go down to Chinatown?
International Food Center, someplace with like canned goods of many lands.
Yeah, I'm sure they have it here somewhere.
Yeah, that would take. You'd need a few hours to find it, but you will.
So let's get it for
You'll
tomorrow.
have that for tomorrow. You will have
get it for tomorrow.
Well,
Get
can't
your
you look
medical
online?
test subject and
Get them on it.
E-Rock used to eat weird shit for us. What was the worst thing you ate, E-Rock? Do you remember?
I don't know. Head cheese was pretty bad.
Oh, you'll look back on that fondly as golden time.
Sounds great.
Like it's a nice blue cheese.
That'll be like the time you had sex with a supermodel compared to,
Wow, Anthony Bourdain's not fucking around.
Oh, no,
that sounds
no.
bad, huh?
They don't touch it. Even the guys who prepare it in Iceland, they use like, the rubber gloves to put it on the plate.
Because
With
it
like
would
a
probably
toothpick.
stank your hands up.
Yeah.
How big of a piece do you eat?
Like a paradise.
Wow.
Oh, they don't eat a giant hunk of it.
You probably
No, it's
can.
more of a snack, and you intersperse it with shots of fire water.
Potato chips are a snack. That's not a snack.
I wonder if they put it on crackers or something, like caviar. I don't know. Am I white trash? What do you eat caviar on? You don't eat it on crackers, do you?
A blini, actually, a small buckwheat pancake, possibly with a garnish of sour cream, chives, maybe some separated hard-cooked white and yolk of egg, little diced red onion.
Is it good like that, caviar?
Yeah.
I've never had it.
So what happened to you when you ate this? Were you able to keep it down?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's unpleasant, but compared to what? I mean,
I don't know.
it's not like a punch in the face. It's, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It's bad. It's like anything else that you eat that's bad.
Sure.
Yeah. It's terrible. What? How old were you when you first started traveling on your own?
44.
Really? So you were just pretty much a homebody kind of a guy?
No, I was working in restaurants 14
Yeah.
hours a day.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, I'd been in France for a few weeks out of a few summers. I'd been in the Caribbean a few times, but that was about it.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, big change for me.
So it was, work that took you around the globe.
Well, I mean, I made sure I worked to make sure that was my work. I said, look, the book's doing really well. I got to cash in on this. I got to, I made a success by writing about my life, and I only got one of those. So
you got to make some more.
I figured
of it.
Got to get somebody to send me out there to have adventures and do all the shit I always wanted to do,
Yeah.
and then hopefully I'll have something to write about. And that ended up being, 13 years later. I'm still doing it.
You like colder climates or warmer climates better?
I'm a warm. I hate clean, orderly countries.
Yeah.
Switzerland would be a living hell to me. I hate alpine vistas, clean streets, functioning, crime-free societies. I like hot, messy, dysfunctional, passionate societies where people yell at each other and serve delicious, spicy food.
That's just the
Sounds
opposite
more
of what I like.
exciting.
Really?
Yeah,
You'd rather be in like Sweden than like southern Italy? Or...
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Well, I'm in southern Italy. I would mind Italy. Italy's. I'm thinking of disorganized places. I mean, I like a nice clean street.
He likes
Really?
a clean street. He likes a hotel that has 24-hour room service.
Yeah,
with nice...
gentlemen's accommodations is what I say.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like some good plumbing, but clean streets. I can hear the jackboots coming. You know what I mean? It's if it's all too, you have no crime here in wherever.
Right.
They wear lederhosen in places like that.
I like that though.
Is there a place you haven't been yet that you want to be?
Iran. I'd love to go to Iran. If the government is, we'll see how that goes.
You probably get
Oh, you can go in. I just, if they loosen up a little bit, right now it's a kind of it's a hostile environment to say the least. But the people is supposed to be awesome. The country is supposed to be great. It's supposed to be easy to get around there. The people are lovely. The food's amazing. It's a beautiful place. It's just a really fucked up government.
I've heard the youth of Iran loves America.
It's a very young country. I think the vast majority of the population are under 28.
Yeah, and they really like what we do here in America. But for some reason, they can't figure that out. Get some of that going over there.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough situation.
What about North Korea? Would you like to go there?
I think it would be poor taste to go to I'm known for food shows, and there's not a lot of food there. They're not going to let me see much interesting.
Yeah.
You get these handlers in situations like that who are, look at glorious buildings of revolution, That's not one.
What about Southeast Asia?
I've been everywhere there.
Everywhere there, right?
Favorite part of the world.
Yeah.
Vietnam, Cambodia.
I think it's a great country to see, Vietnam. I've never been to anywhere in Asia or anywhere in the world, actually.
The best. It's so great.
The food is good?
Amazing.
I want to eat Indian food, too. The one fucking episode of The Sopranos wrecked me where he gets sick on Indian food. I've been offered to eat Indian food. I've never tried it, and people say
You've never had Indian
I've
food.
never eaten
And you live in
Indian
New
food.
York.
Never.
You have a sheltered life, man.
I'm afraid I'm going to get a bad piece of whatever.
So what? It's a little extra time in the Thunder Bucket. So what?
Dude, I don't like being sick. I don't like. But what's a good Indian place and good Indian food?
Oh man. I can't give you.
Or good food. What's good food? Good Indian food.
Just eat everything. It's all good. I mean, maybe you'll get the shits, but it's not gonna. You're
See, I
not
don't
gonna
want
die.
the shits.
Yeah, the shits aren't fun.
I don't want the shits.
I've gone to a couple of places.
Wait a minute. Let me give you an example. The street fairs with the tube socks and the dried spices and the same crap, again and again and again.
Yeah.
You're walking down the street and you smell that sausage, the hot and sweet sausage with the peppers and the onions. Doesn't that smell good to you?
Sure.
Smells good to me, and I know every single time it's going to be, 30
Probably.
seconds over Tokyo, I don't care.
You don't puke, though, right?
No.
Just shit.
Yeah, you get a little
It's
gurgling.
freckling the bowl situation.
I don't care about freckling.
He doesn't care about getting the runs.
No.
Yeah, you get a
that's
little
delicious.
percolating going. That's it. Yeah.
Street gyros, that's a pretty high likelihood of
Problems, yeah.
problems.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You know, it's really just a scheduling issue.
Right, if you have some time and you don't mind, freckling the bowl is probably the best way.
Love that.
Yeah, that just took the top place over spraying mud. I like freckling the bowl.
Yes.
Hey, there's photos of you at UFC for the weekend over Saturday. Did you enjoy it?
I thought the Roy Big Country was amazing.
That fucking
knockout.
Overhand right is a thing of beauty.
It was incredible because he's up against this guy who looked like a gladiator.
Czech Congo, yeah.
It was really that was impressive. It was just a weird night. I mean, there were a lot of disqualifications and early stoppages over eye injuries. And, a broken thumb, a broken toe.
Did you see the broken toe video yet?
So bad.
Well, I thought I was right there, and what was amazing was. I don't think he had any idea.
No.
I think Rogan pointed it out to him. He said, dude, your toe's broken. And he started a, I'm not going to say faint, but clearly blood drained out of his head, and he had to sit down. He was having a problem talking. I mean, he had no idea. He had all that adrenaline, and he looks down and was like, oh,
it was turned completely upside down. It's not
flipped over.
But if anyone thinks for a second that, well, if they hadn't stopped the fight, Kuchel would have totally no. He was not making it another 23 seconds. I was sitting with his family and right next to me, and you saw his interview after. Things were not going to improve for him. He was really getting hurt.
We were watching that. I wonder what moment he knew, because he's a tough guy. But he said at first he complained, but then he's like, no, it was a good stoppage. Like, he kind of felt like they were right to stop it.
If you're a fan of somebody, and I like Chael Sonnen, I think he's one of the funniest, brightest, smartest. This is a guy who's going to have long after his fight career, he's going to have a huge career in broadcasting,
right.
and he's very, very likable and really, really smart. Even if you're a fan, and this is what I don't get, I don't want the guy to get brain damage or hurt for my momentary entertainment, okay? The outcome of the fight, you see this again and again, the outcome of the fight is clearly determined here. You know which way it's going to go.
Yeah. I'm
not going to be happy until he's unconscious and drooling and with a doctor looking to see if his pupils are fixed and dilated. I don't need to see that. I don't demand that as a fight fan. I mean...
Yeah. A lot of people.
The matter was settled.
Right. I guess a lot of people are waiting for that miraculous comeback, but it's like you said, you know which way this is going.
There comes a point, and it happened a number of times, where the Belcher fans are yelling like things are going to get better for him. They clearly weren't. You're not going to be happy until he's unconscious. Then you'll feel better.
Yeah.
There was one moment in Restraint shown which I really liked. Like it was when Nelson hit Congo in the head, and he hit him. And Czech Congo just kind of collapsed. And he's a big heavyweight. And then as he's kind of going down, Nelson hits him again, which is very standard because he's still. But then he went on his back, and Roy came in and cocked. And he didn't hit him, which I liked because he was so clearly out. And Nelson could have got off another shot and been okay and been justified. But I like the fact that he didn't do that because it's like, man, you got to realize if a guy is out like that, you could really fucking hurt him. And he didn't do it, which I liked.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're dealing with a sport that is potentially as bloody as UFC, I think it behooves everybody to be a little more aggressive on the judging. If you're going to have that much blood, you should try to minimize the lasting injuries.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you worried about your wife doing this stuff?
Well, she competes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so this, getting punched in the face is no. But she just did really well. She was just at New York, just won gold at the New York Open.
Oh wow!
Class.
Wow!
So very, very happy, and I think she's going to be competing a lot in the amateur circuit over the next few months, and she loves it.
Do you like the women? And I like watching the women fights. I didn't think I'd like it at first, but then you realize that
they bring it. There's none of that dancing around. We're on points here. They go at it, and I think Rousey's really exciting.
Yeah, she's great.
I feel they have something to prove. I'm sure they, we gotta really put this over the top. Yeah.
And it's not like the women's boxing used to be, where it just looks like a bar fight with people stopping. These are really good fighters who with really good, precise form. Look, I'd like to see the Ronda Rousey Steven Seagal fight. I would pay big money to see that, and I would totally bet on her.
Yeah.
I would like to see her totally choke that hump out.
Why? Did he say something about her?
No, she said something about him, I think.
Oh, okay.
He was, I don't know, she was a, sort of a joke of the moment thing, but personally, I would be curious to see how that fight went.
That would be great to see.
We had her in, and she did like an arm bar on me, and I was worried because like Anthony said, you worried about, well, it's the one where they have something to prove, but she was very gentle, and she was really a lot nicer than I thought she'd be. But again, if there's no, well, I'm a man, she's a woman, so I could technically, she could kick the dog shit out of me and relatively easily, and I kind of sensed that in that moment.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, I live in, my daughter's 6. But she already knows mommy's taught her arm bar, choke, triangle, so like I'm running around. It's like at any moment, these 2 women in my house could be arm barring me or getting their hooks in,
Do you feel happy that your wife can defend herself too? You feel like safer for her, if anything ever happens, she's capable?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really feel bad for anybody who would, make the mistake of even getting lippy with her. But it's also nice to know that, every once in a while I get the over-enthusiastic, biggest fan ever in a bar or at some event, and it's always your biggest fan who suddenly transforms from your biggest fan to just belligerent asshole. Like, I gotta pay your salary, man. That's that guy.
Oh, God damn.
I can't, I can't hit him or break a bottle over his head, or obviously I'm going to be in court for the rest of my life. It's nice to know that if I were there with my wife, she's coming back from the bathroom and some asshole is getting lippy with me, that she could totally choke him out. Or, that pretty much it's over for him.
Yeah. Holy shit, that's funny because,
you have those
dude.
fans. Yeah.
You're the best. One more, and then this is the great one. They go. I just wanted to say hi. Thanks. They walk away. They're like a minute, 2 minutes later, they come back, ask you another question, and then if you try to say like, look, I'm over here, I'm talking with this, or I'm doing, then you're an asshole. Then you're the fucking asshole now.
Yeah, we were shooting the Desert Show with Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, and this guy, we're inside, we're taking a break from shooting. I'm having a beer with Josh. We're reconnecting. We're talking. This little fucking troll comes up. And he's like, I'm your biggest fan. Okay, gee, that's great. I saw you recently at a live show in another city. It's great. So I guess that means I pay your salary. Okay. But okay, I'm cool. Listen, my wife would really like a picture. I said, well, I'm happy to do it. Bring her by. I'll be happy to take a picture. I'm not going anywhere. I'm around. No. She's back in the parking lot. Come on out there. I say, look, I'm talking with my friend here. What? Could you please bring her by? She says, come on, man. I'll pay your salary. At which point, Josh says something like, dude, we're talking. And he turns to Josh, who's like 6'5" and, built. And he says, I'm not talking to you.
Oh, man.
Shit.
Oh, this guy's a problem.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not giving you an autograph now, asshole. I don't like you at all. You just read to my friend and go fuck yourself. At which point he starts to, with the finger, which Josh picks this guy up by his throat. He's shaking him like a little Smurf. It was great. Man.
But what kind of a douchebag would expect you to go out and see his wife in the parking lot? Like, don't try to be a hero to your wife at my expense.
Salary, Jim.
That is true. He does pay your salary. I stand corrected.
I was happy to do it. Bring your wife and all your friends. I'll stay all day long.
Exactly.
As many pictures, whatever.
I'm not going to trot around to different locations.
I'm going to go into these dark desert parking lot.
Oh, he was trying to kidnap
drunk troll.
Yeah.
Right. There's a bunch of guys out there with like duct tape and zip ties and an open van door. And
he's going to pull up. He's going to try to kiss you by the car like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
That would be cool. Look, even that's perfect. The finger, the stabbing in the chest with the finger.
But you can feel it shift too, and they're like, "Dude, I love you." And then there's one thing you don't do right, and like, "Oh, what the fuck? Am I bothering you?"
You're not keeping it real, man.
So what do you want me to do? Jerk you off at the bar? I said hello. I'm happy to see you. Fucking shut up. It's amazing. Like, I never say no to a photo. Ever. Yeah. Will I do it? But once in a while, you do something that they perceive as rude because they're drunk.
But an offense would be not doing the tequila shot. Preferred tequila shot. That suddenly you're an asshole because you're not
drinking with it. Yeah. luck on that one.
Right.
Yeah,
Will
come
you
on,
eat food
man.
they send you or no? Because he won't, and I'm
I'll do my
hesitant.
best. Sure, yeah.
You will?
You know, I'll try. Yeah.
I take a look at who it is, see who it's coming from.
Assess the
If
situation.
they're covered with open sores.
Right. Or, they got that fucking 1,000-yard stare and putting a prescription bottle back in their pocket. Could be an issue. Yeah.
You know, one of those little pill balls in a crusher. Fucking dummy who did the Tylenol thing, and she kept the fucking pill ball in her sink.
A mortar and pestle.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. A pill ball and a crusher.
That's how a normal person says it. What did you call it?
Mortar and pestle.
Exactly. That's how somebody who's poisoning fucking aspirin bottles knows it.
Right.
Hey, what's that pill crusher thing? That's how every non-criminal refers to it.
Yeah, that doesn't show up in
I
Google.
think you're right.
Nobody does.
Buy that shit online.
When is your show on, by the way?
Sundays, 9 o'clock, CNN.
Sunday, 9 o'clock, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy with how it's going. And I got to tell you, CNN is not a place you think they'd have like a big sense of humor.
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
They've been really, really
They
cool
get
to
it.
me.
Good for you, man.
They gave me my ID the other day.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
that opens door. Like I could walk into CNN
Wow.
headquarters and swipe, and like the doors open up, and I'm just wandering around like I actually work in a
Do you see the people that, are on camera all the time?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey, how you doing?
And they're actually like fun.
Yeah, news people. I do stuff over at Fox News, and news people they're quite a partying bunch.
Yeah,
First
they
of
have
all,
better hair over there.
Yeah,
They have much better hair.
Fox.
Ooh, yeah.
I've never seen people that can drink as much as news people.
Yeah.
They can fucking drink. They love going out afterwards and
'Cause they've
tying
seen
one
this-
on at the local gin mill.
They seen the shit.
Yeah, maybe
And I'll tell you,
that's
They seen the stuff they
when you
can't air.
Shooting in Libya and the Congo for me. Look, I'm there for a week.
Yeah.
After a week, I'm like, oh man, I need a shower. Like, I'll kill for a shower. I just can't. I need something to eat. People like Christian Amanpour and Barbara Starr and people like that have been, for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And reported for Anbar Province and places like
Right.
that. It was like, and also working in situations where, your car rolls up at the location and your security guys are saying, okay, you've got 10 minutes here. Okay, you get in and you get back in the car. And wait a minute, that guy over there was speaking on a cell phone, just picked up a cell phone. You're getting back in the car now.
Holy shit.
So 10 years of that. That's pretty. I got a lot of respect for people who do that for a living now.
Yeah.
And I got to say I'm grateful because here, when they announced the show, I've been doing snarky food and travel TV for a while. You would think that a lot of people at CNN who've been doing hard news would not be happy to see me show up. They have been really very friendly to me and very, very welcoming, which, if I was in their position, I'd say, who's this asshole? You're canceling news for this?
But you fit the bill over there. Like, you're one of the rare shows that can transcend that because you do travel and you are showing the world and you are showing these odd locations and these kind of, at times, dangerous places. You're not doing it just from some fancy restaurant.
And it's not like it's Steve-O doing it. You're kind of knowledgeable about things and, you're...
What I don't get is, I've been getting like a lot of tweets or Facebook posts from fans who say like this, I love your show. I always used to watch it, but now that you're on the Communist News Network, I'm not going to watch.
Jesus
and it's like, okay, you like my show, but because it's on the same network as news, whose general bent you don't like, you're not going to watch it. I was like, what's the part? You're afraid that I might accidentally see another. After I see your show, I might see another 5 minutes and suddenly become overwhelmed by compulsion to see Joe Biden's penis. It's like, oh my, I feel myself turning gay and communist. And you're so fucking weak-minded that you can't handle.
You can't distinguish between one show and another. And this one.
I watch Fox all the time. It's like I don't feel like, I'm gonna. It's gonna.
That you're gonna be brainwashed all of a sudden.
All of a sudden,
because it's on for 2 or 3 minutes.
Conservative, yeah.
What are we going to see in future episodes?
Let's see. With Congo, Libya, next week is a truly terrifying, over-the-top Quebec show. I mean, just an assault of delicious food that will really frighten people.
What's their main dish up there? The one thing you have to have in
They
Quebec.
like foie gras, and we were there in winter, so it's a lot of maple syrup, foie gras, pork, of the finest wines known to humanity.
Quebec has the finest wine.
They get a lot of the people I was with are really all about eating and drinking and old school. You know, it's not light.